Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. What an interesting discussion it's been this morning. Unfortunately for the Treasurer, there's a lack of trust about anything he says in relation to the budget because of the Treasurer's track record of not telling the truth or of concealing the truth and not being open about some of the most basic questions, like who is on the Expenditure Review Committee of Cabinet. And I'll just point out to the House that we have now been compelled to put a question on notice for one of the most basic questions. Who is on the Expenditure Review Committee of Cabinet? We don't care that the Treasurer chairs it. That's not the question, Madam Speaker. The question is which ministers make up the arguably most powerful subcommittee of Cabinet, and that is the one that makes the decision about where savings are to be found, Madam Speaker. And we expect that question on notice to be answered honestly and in full, Madam Speaker. But I wanted to talk today a little bit about what's not in the state budget and what's not in any position that Labor has put in relation to the state's finances, and that is the lack of action on responding to global heating, Madam Speaker. We have a state budget and a Labor opposition whose vision for the future extends only as far as the next election, or in the case of the Treasurer, as far as the forward estimates, Madam Speaker. Did you know, Madam Speaker, that on the 31st of July and the 1st of August this year, 22.5 billion tonnes of ice melted off the Greenland ice sheet, Madam Speaker. It is enough, according to the scientists, to cover all of Florida in 5 centimetres of water. The climate emergency is here, Madam Speaker. It is the most important issue that this parliament should be dealing with. There is no sound adaptation planning in the state budget, Madam Speaker. There is lip service paid to the need to bring our economy into a zero emissions economy, Madam Speaker, and nowhere can you find any mention in the budget of a coherent policy and legislative and funding response to the need to prepare our people for the future, because, Madam Speaker, the future is here. Madam Speaker, we saw it in the 2016 summer bushfires where the southwest of Tasmania was ablaze, Madam Speaker. We saw it in the 2018 summer bushfires again, and in the 2019 summer bushfires. Climate change is here. We need to rethink the way we frame up budgets. Every government does, and every parliament should be looking at its budget through this lens, Madam Speaker. We need to make sure that we are assisting landowners and farmers to become carbon farmers, to do as some of our outstanding primary producers are doing right now, people like Roderick O'Connor, where they are investing time, resources and skills into biodiverse carbon plantings, where they are working to restore landscapes to make sure that we're keeping the carbon that's in the ground, to make sure that we're not clear-felling forests that are some of the most outstanding carbon stores that there is, and to make sure that we've got excellent adaptation planning for our communities. We have got more scientists per capita here than any other Australian state or territory, right here on our doorstep in Hobart, Madam Speaker, and this government should prioritise in its budget planning pulling together all the best climate brains that we have in Tasmania, seeking expertise from the mainland and overseas if necessary, and developing the best climate adaptation plan in the country. That's what a responsible government does, Madam Speaker. That's what a responsible opposition advocates for, Madam Speaker. And that is why the Greens are in this place, to remind this parliament daily that when you engage in political games and trivialities and superficialities, when all you're about is political point scoring, you are neglecting your responsibility to the people of Tasmania as legislators and policymakers who recognise as legislators and policymakers, we need to recognise that we have a responsibility, a huge responsibility, Madam Speaker, to get our people ready for the future. And this touches on every single portfolio in government. Our health system will be impacted by global heating. You will see more diseases that have never been seen in Tasmania arrive here. You will see more people presenting at our emergency department because of extreme heat or bushfire events that are impacting on their capacity to breathe, Madam Speaker. There'll be an impact on the housing portfolio, Madam Speaker. We can't keep building houses that put people in hot boxes in summer and ice boxes in winter. We need to build housing that will prepare people for the climate emergency and a hotter world, Madam Speaker. Every single area of the budget should be looked at through the lens of the future that is here now, Madam Speaker. We should be investing in landscape restoration skills through TasTAFE, for example, Madam Speaker. We should be investing in making sure that our young people think critically and that we're equipping them for a world that is very, very different from the world that we grew up in, Madam Speaker. There is artificial intelligence coming that is taking the jobs of young people. We need to equip our young people to be able to take the jobs that robots can't and to be able to prosper and thrive on a planet that is heating, Madam Speaker. So I'm very happy to participate in this debate on behalf of the Tasmanian Greens. I again recommend our fully costed alternative budget to the House. Point out to Labor that it is a bit hard to stomach when you come in here and start talking about budget cuts and we haven't heard anything from you about what you would do differently. And it's your responsibility as an opposition to do that. And as a responsible opposition doesn't take a 4-year holiday when it's in opposition, spend its entire time bashing up the government and not telling us what it would do differently. Madam Speaker, the Greens in this place recognise that.
Find out which services are going to be cut?
Of course we should. Of course we should. But we should also be able to hear from the alternative government what services you would cut or not cut,
Members'
or where
time
you
has
would restore
expired.
funding.
Honourable